Nervous.
Do you
Actually,
get nervous? Do you
yeah, I
get
do. Yeah, I have my daughters coming with me, and
When a marriage ends, emotions can run high. People feel angry, lost, heartbroken, overwhelmed. Both sides are dealing with disappointment and uncertainty. Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Every family has a doorway where difficult choices meet quiet courage. At 58, Nicole Kidman is living through one of those moments. After nearly 2 decades of marriage, she and Keith Urban finalized their divorce this autumn, and the court documents revealed the shape of this new chapter. They agreed that Nicole would become the primary residential parent of their 2 daughters, with 306 days of the year spent in her home and 59 with their father. It is an unusual numerical split, and naturally, it caught public attention. But numbers on paper rarely captured the emotional reality of a family trying to reorganize its life with dignity. In a new exclusive, People magazine shared details from someone close to the couple. According to this source, the girls live primarily with Nicole, but they are free to spend as much time with Keith as they want. There is no tension, no rigidity, no dramatic rules. The same source also noted that Nicole and Keith have committed to making major decisions together and have promised not to speak negatively about each other in front of their daughters. It is a quiet reassurance in a moment when many expected far more upheaval. Still, some corners of the media reacted in predictable ways. Sensational headlines appeared almost immediately, describing a shocking custody win and suggesting that Keith had been sidelined or pushed out. Other sites hinted at a hidden battle, painting the divorce as more explosive than anything the couple themselves have said. These headlines travel fast, but they rarely tell the whole truth. In reality, the picture looks very different. Nicole and Keith share joint legal custody. Their daughters are free to move between homes as they choose. Those familiar with the situation describe a calm, thoughtful atmosphere, one where both parents are doing their best to steady the ground beneath their children's feet. The court-approved plan seems designed around schooling, travel, and emotional comfort, rather than competition. It feels more like a carefully drawn map than a battlefield. What stands out most is how Nicole is moving through this transition. There are no dramatic interviews, no thinly veiled comments, no attempts to turn heartache into headlines. Instead, she appears to be building a home where her daughters can feel anchored, while also encouraging a full relationship with their father. People close to her describe her as steady and composed, choosing calm over spectacle. It is a kind of quiet strength that reveals itself not in words, but in choices. Keith Urban, for his part, continues to be deeply involved in his daughters' lives. Those around him say he remains flexible and present, adjusting his schedule so the girls feel supported and connected. If anything, this looks less like a story of division and more like 2 parents trying to protect what matters most, even as their marriage ends. Like and subscribe if you're finding this conversation thoughtful and helpful. Now, let's continue. There is something in this moment that feels very familiar to anyone who has lived through a major separation. Divorce is rarely a clean line. It is more often a storm that moves through 2 households at the same time. When a marriage ends, emotions can run high. People feel angry, lost, heartbroken, overwhelmed. Both sides are dealing with disappointment and uncertainty, often while trying to keep life functioning for their children. The end of a marriage is not natural for anyone. Nobody truly wants that. But real wisdom appears when, in the middle of that emotional hurricane, someone finds the balance to think clearly and act generously. When a parent is able to hold their feelings in one hand and their children's needs in the other, and make decisions guided by love rather than anger, that is what Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban seem to be doing, and it is something worth noticing. In a landscape filled with sensational stories about divorce, this one offers an example of how maturity and compassion can guide even the hardest transitions. This is also why I found the People exclusive so grounding. In a moment when so many headlines rushed to create shock and conflict around Nicole's life, this quieter report brought a sense of truth and calm. It reminded us that not every celebrity story needs to be a storm. Sometimes the reality is steadier, kinder, and more human than the noise around it suggests. I wonder how this resonates with you. Have you lived through a moment where you had to keep your balance in the middle of emotional chaos? Or have you seen a family choose cooperation over conflict during a difficult separation? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video before you go. And as we step away, let's remember that every doorway, even after the hardest storm, eventually leads to a steadier room beyond it.